Hey everybody, Dutch Sense here. 1:44 a.m. Central Time on Friday, January 23rd, 2015. And I've got you looking at Earthquake 3D here, which is a USGS and EMFC feed of the most recent earthquakes. And I want to draw your attention to this very large swarm of earthquakes that's now broken out in north-central Italy. And the reason I'm drawing your attention to this is I put out an earthquake update earlier this morning, 2 a.m., about 24 hours ago now. And I specifically cover in the video that we need to watch north-central Italy for movement in the near term, as well as in the video I named out the area around Fiji to watch for a possible large earthquake. And here we go, 7.0 earthquake struck right we were watching, east of Papua New Guinea, west of Vanuatu, and of course that is not a shock because of the activity that's been happening elsewhere on the planet. North Italy has been silent for many months, and now you can see a swarm has broken out there, named it out specifically, told you guys why we were watching in this area specifically, and to see that, let me just take you over to the USGS feed over the last 7 days. Okay, and we'll let that update. You can see the progression of earthquakes that has happened over the last 7 days that reaches from the West Pacific. Let me back this out so you can see it. From the West Pacific, where this huge amount of movement has happened here from Sumatra north to Japan and south to Papua New Guinea. And over the last several days, a swarm of 5.0s kicked off, which led up to this 7.0 that happened on the perimeter edge. Again, right where the asthenosphere disturbance is happening at 350 miles deep. And that followed all this movement here. So all this movement here moved the entire plate. That was then culminated with, in the quiet area no less, right where we were watching, with a 7.0, now revised to 6.8, 6.9. But the earthquakes over the last 7 days, 4.0 and greater, spill right across Asia, going through the Middle East, terminating here in Italy. And now that's the swarm spot, as warned, named North Central Italy. Now there was a big controversy a couple of years ago over in Italy about forecasting earthquakes, and they actually put a few scientists in jail over there for not properly warning people about a coming earthquake. Now they weren't saying they had to nail it down to a date or a time, but just that they didn't warn the people ahead of time of all the activity that was happening elsewhere. Kind of like what I'm doing now, warning you of activity elsewhere and telling you places to watch now. They are not and were not doing. They were put in jail, now they've been let out. I'm letting the people of Italy know now. You can forecast an earthquake. I'm doing it. My viewers will testify to the fact. Anybody can do this. I'd be willing to teach it to your scientists, okay? I'd be willing to teach it to anybody. Of course, you can watch my videos and learn how it's happening. It's simple. Earthquakes are progressing across areas from one place to another, defying all of geology. That one earthquake is related to another elsewhere. You can watch the earthquakes come from the West Pacific, come across Asia, and stop here in Greece. You know that you're getting primed for an earthquake in Italy. What size? Well, it's probably going to be around the same size as the other events that have been leading up to it. Same with over here in the US. We saw a progression of 4 and mid 4.0 earthquakes happen here in the West. It then pushed down here to the south with the fracking operations, where there were more 4.0 earthquakes, and that then pushed up the East Coast right along the edge of the North American plate, the Craton, and caused multiple earthquakes up here in the Northeast, which you can see here on the map. Which they added another 3.7 to the map in New Brunswick and Canada, by the way, guys. Just in case you didn't know, they threw that one on the map yesterday. So I just got to tell you guys that the swarm here in Italy is forecast. You can forecast an earthquake down to a region, down to a specific time frame of 3 to 5 days. And when they do a forecast for 5 days, we are able to do that now with earthquakes, based upon the movement in adjacent areas, plotting them on a 3-dimensional map, watching where they are depth-wise, and you guys have to watch my other videos to get up to speed on the depth issue, the asthenosphere issue, how that plays into the solar issue, and how that plays into ionospheric and magnetospheric disturbance that is happening at conjugate points, such as Chile, each place where the earthquakes are raised high off the map here. So you can see that there's several points around the Pacific where we're having deep earthquakes. Those deep earthquakes are then followed by shallow, large earthquakes. as seen with today's 7.0, happening right in the area in between the silent area where we hadn't seen any movement is where the 7.0 happened. All this 5.0s and nothing over here to the east, now followed by that 7.0. Those are related. Earthquakes are related. Geologists say they aren't, but they're going to have to update their modus of operandi soon, because the facts are contradicting their beliefs. And they are beliefs of theirs at this point, because the facts are dictating what's happening. I mean, it's not by accident that I chose North Italy yesterday, 24 hours ago, watching for possible large movement, and then boom, huge swarm hits. That's because of the pressure coming from the east, pushing to the west, which it kind of defies what they're taught over there. They're taught that the Mid-Atlantic Ridge rises and pushes to their east, putting pressure from this direction to this direction. But now it's pretty obvious that the plate, the European plate, is being displaced from the east to the west. And in the US, it's going from the west to the east, completely contradicting all of geology. It's a wild time to see it, guys, but there you go. It's undeniable. Be safe. Always have an earthquake plan ready and be prepared just in case.